Welcome to Strange Paths, the podcast where we read Choose Your Own Adventure style stories. We're your hosts. I'm Megan.
I'm Paul.
I'm Stephanie, and I've got an ingrown toenail, but I like it.
That's true.
Such a Stephanie thing to say.
Yeah, classic Stephanie. What a bitch.
I'm horrible.
Yeah, everybody knows that. Wait, who did I say I was?
You said you were Paul.
Oh, I like eating garbage and throwing up in my bed.
Good one.
So, anyway.
Oh.
You don't have any hot roasts for Megan?
I'm just a hot mess.
Oh, damn.
Oh, ow. My feelings. Ow.
Yeah, we just finished watching Arrested Development, so Hot Mess is very much on
Oh,
our brains.
I watched that one.
Hot Mess.
Oh, God. I think I watched that one a couple of days ago. Oh, just like Buster making the doll of her. I don't know if I've seen that episode over and over. It's so scary.
That was amazing. And how many martinis he made in just like 3 days?
Oh, God, so many martinis.
I wonder if he just went overboard or if that's how many he makes.
That's probably how many he makes.
Oh boy. Well, anyway, back to relevant stuff.
Yeah, like what we're doing or anything.
I've written a story for this week.
Ooh.
Hooray.
So what's your story called?
It's called Choices, which is appropriate for our podcast.
Nice.
Hey. Did you spell it in a funny way? Like a cool hip-hop way?
Yeah, CHOYISIS.
Nice.
Yeah.
Choices.
I hope that there's no choices. And it's just a single story all the way through.
Yeah.
It's time for story time.
Well, that's awesome. I'm excited.
I'm
Are you
not.
guys prepared? I haven't warned you, but you're warned. It's going to be scary. It's not. Maybe kind of.
I don't know what to expect from this.
So many emotions are possible.
I was another me when I wrote it, so I'm also going to be choosing along with you.
So you wrote it like 7 years ago?
Yeah.
Are you making that skin joke?
That skin
old
joke
skin
I
joke.
often make.
You actually do.
What are you talking about?
Where it's like your cells all regenerated, so you're a different person. Basically.
Yeah, but how do I insert that in as a joke
You-
on a regular basis?
I spend a lot of time with you, and I'm telling you, it's your skin joke.
It's
So if
knock,
it
knock.
bothers you,
Knock, knock.
who's there?
Every 7 years your skin regenerates.
A different person than 7 years ago. It's a better punchline.
That is a good one.
You're supposed to say every 7 years your skin regenerates who? And I'll say, exactly, it's a different person.
Okay, so yeah, if it
boy.
bothers you that this is your thing, stop making it.
Yeah.
Simple.
I don't know, I'm
I'm
really
tired
proud
of waking
that
up to
joke
12
now.
texts about it. Okay?
Hey, I'm a little bit closer to being a different person. This percent of the way to a new, more beautiful Paul.
Excuse me for chronicling my life.
You're excused.
Yeah. Anyway, choices.
Right. Let's get in here.
Can't wait.
Here we go.
And I won't.
Okay. Marley was dead to begin with.
Oh my god! Talking about that dog?
There's no doubt whatever about that. The register of his burial was signed by the clergyman, the clerk, the undertaker, and the chief mourner. Scrooge signed it. And Scrooge's name was good upon change for anything he chose to put his hand to. Old Marley was as dead as the doornail. You guys still going?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to see how much of a Christmas Carol I could read before you stopped me.
Wait,
But
that was the actual Christmas Carol?
Yeah.
I've never actually read it, so
Oh.
I don't know. I was like, okay, Scrooge, all right, she's taking some things from things.
Well, I
knew
don't
Marley
wanna-
was in A Christmas Tale, but I
actually
just
did not. It's been a long time.
I assumed that you would just pick that name.
Nope. Nope. I don't want to
Now
get in
everybody-
trouble by Charles Dickens, so I have to stop reading probably now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that's probably in fair use, or like.
Yeah, we just read that.
Well,
we'll
I
just
don't
make
want him to
choices
come-
for Tiny Tim.
I don't want him to, like, come at me in the middle of the night wearing all the chains and stuff, like, oh, you didn't
Oh,
pay
yeah,
me, you know?
You would totally want that.
You're right.
Charlie Dix! I've been dreaming about this moment forever.
Oh,
He'll
yeah.
be so happy about his nickname.
So when you think of A Christmas Tale, which movie adaptation do you go
Christmas
to
Tale?
first?
I go to
Christmas
Muppets.
Carol.
Christmas Carol. Yeah, I go to Muppets first.
I usually go to Scrooged.
Weird, but I understand. I love Scrooge.
Well, because it's the eagle guy, the Muppets, who's the
I
guy
love
with the
the Eagle
chains.
guy. I just think I like to think about. I don't remember which one she was, but the ghost of Christmas, whatever that he meets in the sewer, who's like dressed up like a fairy.
Oh, that slaps him a bunch.
Yes.
Yeah, that's where my mind goes. Plus, I love Bill Murray.
Yeah, no, Bill Murray's a good guy.
Everyone does.
Seems like it.
So anyway, choices.
So yeah, your
Okay.
actual story, Megan. Stop trying to pull the rug out from under us.
I'm sorry, I don't know fucking literature
One
as
day I'll
well as I
break your
should.
Is she gonna start with it was the best of times, it was the worst of times?
That's the other one I thought of, but I thought that was too obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would have gotten that immediately. Even me.
Okay, so let's go into the real story.
That's the real deal now.
All right. Not that jacked up piece of trash.
Oh no, he's gonna haunt you for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. You're aware of the death grip you have on the steering wheel, but you can't convince your hands to relax. Your breathing and heart rate are up just as high as they were on that terrible night 3 months ago. The bridge approaches, and the scene plays back in your mind like it has hundreds of times. You and your girlfriend Claire were driving home one night in an icy silence. You just proposed to her at her favorite restaurant, and she had not yet given you an answer.
Oh, that's bad.
She said she needed more time to think and was terrified of making the wrong decision. She was like this in all areas of life. If you asked her where she wanted to go eat, or what she wanted to do in regards to anything, she would hesitate and ask your opinion. Once she had taken so long deciding on the color of a shirt to buy that you'd fallen asleep on a chair in the store, woken up, and she was still there weighing the pros and cons.
Women, am I right?
Women be shopping.
I kind of thought about this in general because I do this, but also Steven does it too. So it's awful. Both of us are like, I don't know, what do you want to do? Back and forth like those vultures, you know?
We
Yeah.
do that.
We actually do that and shake
Yeah, we
our
do.
shoulders at
We
each
do.
other.
Like whenever it's gotten to the point where we're like, oh my god, make a decision, is usually when we go to the fucking vultures.
It sucks. I'm trying to be more assertive, but it's just not working yet.
It's tough. It's a skill.
Yes. Onward. In other ways, your relationship was pretty ideal, but admittedly, this was a pretty big problem for you both. You'd convinced her to go to therapy, thinking her indecision was due to an underlying issue, but she had taken months researching different psychologists and still hadn't chosen one. Agreeing to your marriage proposal was one decision you could definitely not make for her, but you wish you could. You couldn't imagine your life without her, and if you really had to, you'd happily spend the rest of your life waiting for an answer, as long as it was with her. You had talked previously...
I was just making like,
Oh. I thought you were like, Not in the eyes of the Lord.
yeah, you better get that ring, sir.
You talked previously about spending your lives together, and all signs pointed to yes. It was just the final decision in the way. You looked over at her in the driver's seat, anxiously chewing her bottom lip, a trait you found very endearing, and were about to assure her that she could take as much time as she needed, but she gasped before you could get it out. Ahead, a deer was in the middle of the road looking shocked. It could have been easy to avoid the deer, but Claire was frozen in place. "Claire, right or left? Right or left? He screamed and reached over to yank the wheel, but it was too late. The car hit the deer head-on and crashed into the frame of a nearby bridge. Later, when you regained consciousness in the hospital, you learned that Claire had not made it. She'd had a traumatic brain injury and died instantly. After that night... That's probably what he said as soon as he woke up.
Hate to see it.
After that night, you'd spent months healing a few broken bones, but your mental state had not improved at all. You'd been majorly depressed. It did not seem able to move forward. You still slept in your same bed and hadn't changed the sheets, not wanting to wash any of her lingering smell off the pillow.
Bro.
You kept her clothes neat and shooed away the relatives that dared suggested donating them. In the back of your mind, you thought she might need them, even if you knew otherwise logically. You were prone to spacing out for hours, which is something that wasn't usual for you, thinking about that night, and how you were unable to take control of the situation. You can't help but think there was something you could have done. You should have reacted sooner, or something. Coming back to reality, approaching the bridge, you notice it's still damaged where your car had hit it. You feel another panic attack coming on, so you pull over and get out. You wish there was another route to get to your house, but there wasn't. You slam the car door and sit on the ground while attempting to control your breathing. You don't want to have to use another Valium, but you feel like you're being choked by invisible hands, so you put one under your tongue anyway. You know you'll be mad at yourself later when you find that you're unable to concentrate on much of anything, but now you just need to regain control. You sit down on the side of the road and begin sobbing. In between heaves, you sputter out curses at the universe, wondering why it happened to you. Why her? Why couldn't she have just made up her mind? Wildly, you start begging anyone or anything that would listen to take it all back, to be able to do it over. After a few minutes, you feel much calmer, but decide to walk around a bit before attempting to drive again. You walk to the bridge and look down at the calm river below, just as you've done so many times with Claire, including your first date. A tear runs off the bridge of your nose into the calm water, and it begins to shimmer beautifully in a circle directly below you. In fact, it seems like the ripples it made are glowing almost. That's strange, you say to yourself. The illuminated circle of water looks very unnatural, and you wonder if there's a light below the surface, or if the sun is bouncing off just so. You have nothing but time, so you decide to go investigate. You bear crawl down the steep bank to get a closer look. The glowing circle is still visible from your new lower angle. It must be coming from below, you say to yourself. You take a step towards the water and wonder if you should investigate further by wading in to see, or give up and go home. It might be a dangerous undertow situation. As you hesitate, you hear a voice whisper, "I see your sadness. I can help you. You can help me." The voice sounded like a cold breeze in skeletal trees. Startled, you think, "It must be the wind. I'm depressed, not crazy." But the voice continues, "I can help you. Come into the light." The watery circle glowed a bit brighter. You become very frightened and confused. Valium's a potent drug, but it wouldn't have this effect, would it? Maybe I am going crazy. "Choose now," says the voice. What should you do? Go towards the glowing circle in the water, turn to page 2. It might be dangerous. Play it safe and go home. Turn to page 3.
What? Hell nah.
No, we have to go in the glowing circle in the water.
We do.
Before we go into the briny depths.
Is it a freshwater?
It's fresh.
Oh, okay.
The
Before we
fresh
go,
depths.
Yeah, into the fresh, clean depths.
Oh, it's dirty. Just not
Dirty,
salty.
sorry.
The dirty
Okay.
depths.
All right.
DD.
So the possibly potable water.
Mm-hmm.
We did get a sponsor this week.
Yeah. This is a great time apparently to read it.
Yes.
Woo!
Steph's going to be in charge of this one.
Okay, let me put on my glasses. I can't read without my glasses.
My girl.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Dieting can be tough. counting calories, prepping your meals, telling everyone you know that you're dieting in an attempt to get any positive reinforcement. The list goes on. If only there was an easier way to achieve all these goals. Well, now there is, with Bean Cuisine. That's right, Bean Cuisine, the microwavable single serving of nature's lube candy. Beans! What the fuck is wrong? Have a dinner date coming over, you're not sure what their dietary restrictions are? Bean Cuisine! Trying to convince yourself you're still a worthwhile human being? Bean Cuisine! Facing sexual harassment charges because you thought your date was being sly by giving you double negatives? That's right, Bean Cuisine. Just peel back the plastic covering, toss our patent-pending bean bags in the microwave, and go call a lawyer while dinner's getting ready. Say no to diet planning and no to Bean Cuisine. Beans!
Is that the slogan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bean Cuisine!
Oh, Bean Cuisine.
We love you!
Oh, yes.
I'm so happy. Oh, man. They're
It just sounds like such a nutritious dinner.
so good and so appropriate to what we're dealing with in the story right now.
Yes. I can't wait to mix that with my wilty lettuce.
Oh,
I just can't
God.
wait. It's
Oh, I know.
Eggs in there.
Oh.
Always
Yes.
with the eggs.
A feast.
So yeah, anyway, do we want to go into the depths or
I think we do.
Oh, right.
when we have
I'm
Bean
energized.
Cuisine, we don't want to play it safe.
No.
Okay?
Just from talking about it,
Anything's-
I'm just extra energized. Just all the beans.
Yeah. Anything's possible.
They decide to wade into the water. Maybe it's your medically induced calm, or maybe the months of grueling depression have given you the case of the fuckets, and you wade straight for the glowing circle. You pass your hand under it and feel nothing unusual. You wade into the center of it, and for a moment nothing happens. But then you feel somewhat colder, and then very, very cold. Your surroundings turn gray, and you feel woozy. Maybe this was a mistake, you start to think before you black out. You slowly regain consciousness. You feel very dizzy and open your eyes. At first, all you can see is a blurred gray. As your eyes focus, you become frightened. You're surrounded by an entirely gray landscape, gray skies and gray land as far as the eye can see. In the distance, you can see gray figures moving slowly. You touch the land beneath you, and it's almost like sand, but softer. It's almost as if everything were made of ash. A wind-like voice whispers behind you. You're still a bit woozy, so you turn around slowly. A thin gray figure towers before you. His face lacks any sort of features at all, and he stands with crossed arms looking down at you. Strangely, you aren't frightened by his presence, even though you probably should be. Ash? Where am I? You managed to ask. You are nowhere and somewhere. You are in between places. This is where souls go that can't move on to more definitive destinations. What souls, like dead people? Precisely. More specifically, lost souls that don't know where they belong and aren't able to decide. Suddenly you're very alert. Like purgatory? Is Claire here? You back around or look around frantically for her blue eyes amongst the gray. Sort of like that. You could call it that, I suppose, he says. She is here in this place. I would like to change that. Most souls that come here are hopeless. They are here, and they remain here until they forget themselves and slowly become part of the landscape. Part of the landscape? He nods and points into the distance. A similar tall, faceless figure glides up to what appears to be a statue of a man sitting on the ground. The figure spreads his long arms wide and begins to spin gracefully around the man. Like a somber ballet dancer, he continues to gain speed and soon resembles a tornado. The man crumbled in the force of the winds, turned to dust, and scattered in the air until he was no longer visible, no longer there at all. Part of the landscape, the gray figure repeated. Is Claire a statue? No, not yet, he says simply. You gasp and are visibly shaken. The figure notices and kindly says, Would you like to know more, or would you like to return to your world with no memory of this place? There's no turning back if we continue. To continue, turn to page 4. To go back, turn to page 5.
Well, I feel like we have to continue. We can't turn back like Orpheus.
Well, Orpheus was told
Not to turn back.
because he would ruin everything if he did. This
Yeah.
is very different.
I still think we shouldn't turn back.
Okay.
You decide to learn more about this place and why you're here. Who are you? What should I call you? You ask the figure. I'm one of many guardians of this place. We keep things moving here and make sure the souls are protected while in between. They are very fragile. I do not have a name. I have no need for one. And Claire is here? In between what exactly? And why am I here? She is between life and the afterlife. Like all souls here, she's stuck for one reason or another. Some souls don't truly know themselves, and therefore are unable to hold on to existence. Some do not feel as if they deserve to exist, and fade away. Some are unable to decide where they belong when life is over, and never do. Oh no, she can't decide, you say, barely audibly over the winds. One of my purposes here, says the gray figure, is to encourage souls to move on if at all possible, he says. Do a lot of souls move on? Almost none, but I sense a strong possibility that Claire may have it within her. With your help, perhaps a good chance. Your presence might stir something within her, help her to make a decision. We should go to her now. Each moment that passes lessens the possibility that she'll be able to do so. Should you go willingly? If so, turn to page 6. To stall, you're unsure you can do this. Turn to page 7.
We have to go. Why not?
You follow closely behind him. Of course you do. You love Claire, and you would do anything to help her. You always had before, and you always would have, no matter what. The Guardian walks in long strides, and you struggle to keep up. The ash dunes were difficult to walk through. In the distance, you see a small human figure. It's Claire. You can see her eyes from a long way off. She's sitting cross-legged on the ash, looking very pale. In front of her stands a single flower made of dust. As if frozen in time, her hand is reaching for the flower, her face stuck in a state of confusion and dismay. Her elegant brow furrowed, and lips turned ever slightly downward. All she need do is choose a petal. The choice signifies whether she wishes to move on or remain here and slowly disappear. What am I supposed to do to help her, you ask, your voice strained with emotion. Talk to her. Be gentle. She's fragile. Convince her to move on or be lost. It's up to you what you say and how you convince her. That's it? Those are the only options, you ask? Afterlife or nothingness? Is there no way she could come back with me? There's no way you could erase all that happened? Don't you have some power? She doesn't belong in any of those places. Not yet. Please. You choke back tears and try to regain your composure. The Guardian is quiet for a time, and then says seriously, There is one way that it would be possible for you both to return. But the sacrifice you would have to make is great, and I would not recommend it to you. What should you do? Inquire further about bringing her back to Earth. Turn to page 8. To heed his warning, forget that option, and just go talk to her. Turn to page 9.
I mean, is it just asking what it is?
Probably not.
I don't remember.
I mean, we're super depressed without her. Maybe we should just make the sacrifice.
Or ask what it is.
Okay, you wish to inquire. Please tell me, what would it take for her to come home? You ask with desperation. There's one way. If you're able to convince her to choose to go back with you, she may do so, but at the end of your natural life, you would return here to take my place as a guardian. If you agree, I will do this for you, he says gravely. Take your place here? Where will you go? On. That means, were you at some point human? Not quite. Another type of being. Similar to human, yes. It was a very long time ago. How long have you been here, doing this? I do not know. Statues have been carved and turned to dust. Mountains have risen and fallen. And species have come into existence and gone extinct since I've been here, he says, and stares into the gray. But if I agree, I'll be able to be with her again for a lifetime. I cannot guarantee a full life. That is not in my hands. But yes, you could both return to Earth. She would have another chance. She would not remember dying. You would be placed back before her death. But before you agree to this, I must again stress that my existence is not one that I would suggest. It is not easy, and not often rewarding. It simply is. Should you seal your fate and agree, turn to page 10. To leave the matter alone and try to talk to her or talk her into the afterlife, turn to page 9.
So if we agree, that means that let's assume that this is like a being that lives for an infinitely long time in whatever plane we're in.
Mm-hmm.
It means eventually we'll get to move on.
If we trick somebody else into...
It's not a trick.
It's not a trick, but...
It's not a trick, but...
We're assuming that
But yeah.
they do need replacements.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, if I was faced with this decision, I would probably take the deal. Is that fucked up?
Well, I don't know. I guess it's based off of like what should be our perception of what happens after this stage. Because the fact is, I guess I would take it just because of the guarantee of a known thing, which would be living the rest of my life with Claire, versus I don't know what happens after this stage.
Yeah, or I mean, I don't know. Like, it's a terrible choice, but
Yeah.
it's just like without her, you weren't able to do anything.
It's just been like a few months.
It hasn't
been a long
that
time,
long.
but yeah, it's a hard decision.
Well, it's a story, so let's just do it.
Okay. So you want to agree to take his place eventually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He'll be happy.
All right.
Yeah, we're helping two birds with one stone.
Yeah.
This sounds like something like a murderer would say.
Well, I didn't want to say killing because we're technically like bringing one of them back to life.
All right, here we go. You've made your bed. If it means I can be with her, I'll take that chance. You think to yourself, what would be more worth 1,000 years of toil than a life of true love? I want to do this, I'm sure. Then hold out your hand, he says. You do so, and he pours a fine dust into your palm. Your hand turns gray for a moment, then back to its normal color. It is done. You shall take my place when the time comes. Now, go speak to her. You walk over to where Claire is sitting. She is still perplexed. Claire, you say, while kneeling in front of her. Her nose twitches a little, but she remains fixated on the flower. You take her face in your hands and attempt to make eye contact. Claire, you don't have to decide your fate now. We can go back. We can go back home, and you can have years and years to grow. You don't have to keep thinking about this now. She slowly meets your gaze and moves her head a little, as if she hasn't moved in years. So slowly it's almost imperceptible. She gets to her feet. Dazed, she croaks out, "Home?" "Yes," you say, and look over your shoulder at the guardian. He waves his hand in an arch, and a doorway opens amidst the gray. The colors of earth are painful to behold. You may go. She must follow you out. I will see you again, in time. It will pass sooner than you think. Do not forget that you have done this willingly. You cannot process the gravity of his words at the moment. You're so happy to pass through the door. You do so, and purposefully don't look back into the gray of your future. A white light engulfs your perception, and you wake up at the sight of the car accident months before. Claire is laying to your right, hurt, but alive. She writhes painfully. You're happy to be back. This is what you wanted. But you can't help but feel a twinge of dread thinking back on the gray lands in between worlds. In between you and your afterlife. The thought will haunt you the rest of your otherwise happy life. Always on the outskirts of your mind, putting a slight damper on everything you do. The thought is there during your wedding. Birthdays, vacations. Claire says you were never quite the same after the accident. She's right. I think my wrist is broken, she cries, bringing you back to reality. I'll call an ambulance. You're going to be okay, you say, and notice the deer bounding off into the woods. The end.
The deer's fine.
That's the takeaway.
Yay. He's okay.
So what do you want to do now?
Well, now I guess I would want to talk to her to try to convince her
To move on.
to move on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I feel like that's, I don't know, to me that's the other big part of the story, is getting her to actually make a choice for herself.
Right.
Yeah. Because honestly, that's probably the choice that you should choose. Because, dear God, like staying in that place forever and ever,
Well, not forever.
potentially forever.
Yeah.
Just a really long time.
I guess you could be there
not-
forever. It's possible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you could be there forever.
you could be. That's true.
Okay, so
Like, that's not healthy. That's not the healthy
Yeah.
choice.
No. Yeah, that was more of the indulgent choice.
right.
Yes.
Okay, so back we go. You decide to try and help her decide to go to the afterlife. You kneel beside her and call her name softly for a minute. No response. She's focused on the flower as ever, her hand delicately suspended in the air. Ash clings to her long eyelashes, giving her an aged look. Claire! Claire! You shout now, pleading to her to decide to go to the afterlife, that she's good, that she belongs there, that it's natural to go. It doesn't seem to be working, and you notice the end of her fingers seem more gray than before. What should you do? To keep talking to her, you just need to say the right thing. Go to page 11. Shake her violently and try to snap her out of it. Turn to page 12.
No. Do not shake her.
Keep talking to her.
Do not shake her.
Okay, keep talking to her.
What a nightmare.
Okay, here we go. You now sit directly across from her. You need to keep talking. Eventually she's going to hear you. She has to. Please, Claire, you have the power within you to make this decision. I believe in you. If you can't decide to go, you'll stop existing. You'll blow away. I'll never get to meet you again if you don't do this. Please! Her eyes flicker, just a tiny bit. In what seems like an eternity, you notice her hand slowly creeping towards the flower, and very softly taking a petal between her finger and thumb. She pulls, and with the release of the petal, she begins glowing white. It's blinding amidst the gray, and she looks you in the eyes. See you later, she silently mouths to you. Then she's gone. The imprint where she sat moments before quickly fills with sand and dust, and the gray engulfs your vision once more. You turn to the guardian sadly. She's gone. Was it the right choice? You say to him, holding back tears. There is no right here. Only what happens, he says. Even so, it's good to see a soul move on from this place. It's a very rare occurrence. Now it's time for you to go. You will have no memory of this. Thank you. He creates a doorway for you with his hand, and you step outward. You wake up in a patch of grass by the river, confused. You climb back up the bank to the bridge. You make sure you feel okay, and get back into your car to drive home. It's much later than you thought it was. You must have been asleep for hours. You feel very refreshed after your accidental nap, like a weight has been somewhat lifted from you. You make a small salad and turn on a drama you've been wanting to see, but haven't been able to watch after the accident. Seems like a good time to watch it now. You go to sleep that night and dream of Claire. She had wings. The end.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Yeah, kinda.
I mean, she had wings.
I feel like verklempt.
Feel what?
Verklempt.
Did you not watch Coffee Talk?
No.
It was the Jewish woman character Mike Myers would do on SNL,
Oh,
where
yeah.
she would get choked up and you'd have to talk amongst yourselves, and she'd give you a topic.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I did not.
That is that feeling.
Okay.
I don't want to do anything else. Because, I mean, like, the other choices are you don't investigate. So then
Or you shake
don't...
her.
Or you shake her,
pretty
which she's
much.
fragile, so I feel like she's going to just explode into dust, and you'll just be there like, oh my god!
So what you're saying is let's shake her first.
Shake her.
All right.
This is the
I'm
canon
gonna
ending.
go back and shake her. That's
And now
Stephanie
I'll shake
thinks
her.
shaking her is the canon
Wait, the
ending.
canon is the shaking, right?
No, the canon is not going to be shaking.
Hey,
Unless
let's
it's
give
awesome.
it a shake. Talking isn't working. Time for plan B. You grab her by the shoulders and begin to shake. You shake even harder than you intend to, partly out of rage about her inability to decide. Her head lolls back on her neck, and she collapses into the ashes. As she hits the ground, she smashes into 1,000 pieces and blends with the ash below. You gasp and look back at the Guardian. He bows his head and disappears. For a moment, you're alone amongst the ash, and you close your eyes. When you open them, you're by the riverbank. What happened? Did the Valium make me fall asleep? You wonder, slightly shaken. You stand up and make sure you're all right, and drive home. On the way back, you keep trying to remember the strange dream you had by the river, but every time you almost have a grip on it, the memory slips through your fingers like fine sand. At home, you make a sad peanut butter sandwich and put on a documentary you aren't particularly excited about watching. It doesn't make you feel better or alleviate the nagging urge to remember the dream from earlier. You go to sleep that night and dream of nothing.
Yikes.
You like?
Yeah.
I mean, it seems appropriate to the action we took.
Yeah. All right, so the other choice was to not investigate the circle.
I think there were two other choices, and they were both just like go back or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the first one is where you don't go into the circle at all. It's very short.
Okay.
You decide there have been enough senseless deaths near this bridge lately, and climb back up to the bank to the bridge. Make sure you feel okay, and get back in your car to drive home. Once there, you make macaroni and cheese, and turn on a stand-up comedy special you don't particularly like. It helps you feel less alone, almost cheerful. You go to sleep that night, and dream of winged deer. The other ending's very similar, I just kept switching out details for just slightly
Yeah.
different.
I don't like how, like, that was the one I probably identify with most.
Yeah.
Just like not going at all. Or
Well, yeah, the macaroni and a comedy special.
Yeah, where you're just like, yeah, I'm watching comedy, I'm laughing.
yeah, feeling good. Yep, well, there you go. That's the story.
That was a really good story.
Yeah, that was a really good story. I like the kind of mythos you built
Yeah.
with it.
Plus, I really liked whenever you first were like introducing the gray guy,
The Guardian.
and he was just like, Ash. And I got like a super Neil Gaiman-y feeling out of it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, that was good.
thank you.
And that all of his talking was like, it was funny. It's interesting that like the whole point of you being there was to help Claire make a decision, and he's in a land where like he's also speaks in very gray meanings.
Yeah.
He said, what you did wasn't good or bad. It just happened.
Yeah.
Right.
I wonder, I mean, does that mean that he chose to get someone back also?
Who knows what he did?
Yeah, that's a whole chicken or egg kind of thing.
Yeah, but it's not, because the inventor of the chicken and the egg is right here. She can tell me.
I
Yeah.
imagine that he did like a similar deal. I mean, I could maybe write that story for another time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to know the origin of that guy. I'm so emotionally connected to him.
I like the idea that you do it and all you do is change the names.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's like, okay, but the guy that led him, how did he get there?
Wait, I know his name. It was Marley, wasn't
Yep, doesn't matter.
it?
You got it.
God.
But no, that was a great story.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
Right. Yeah, that, like, I thought about that story after we recorded, what was the other really depressing one before it?
Oh, the one where the guy, it was like a wasteland.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I was like, I should probably get away from this sort of vibe for a little bit. And I did the seal story.
Yeah.
Enough time had passed.
Now it's a return to form.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I hope you,
Yeah.
all you listeners, all the millions of you out there, liked it as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Email to us
Yeah.
how much you liked it or hated it because it was too close to home. What is
where
it?
can they email us?
At strangepastpodcast@gmail.com.
Right? Or you can tweet at us at StrangePathsPod.
Yeah, we're always there. Always.
Or you can write to me, and me alone, about the stuff you've hid near a bridge and you didn't tell anyone about at bozosglowglobes@gmail.com. Actually, we have a Bozos Glow Globes email this time. You guys ready to answer some
Ooh,
questions?
boy.
Yup. Is it from Robin?
Nope.
Ooh.
It's from Sam, the Scarecrow.
Ooh,
Aw.
nice.
I love him.
Here we go. He says, every damn minding my own damn business, and those damn crows come and try to eat all my damn crops. I'm sick of it. After a day of scaring, I like to wind down at the old Scarecrow bar. But recently, the crows across the street at the Crow Bar are so loud I can't hear myself think. I'm pulling the hay out of my ears trying to relax. Constant squawking about this, chirping about that. I'm not one to take my work home with me, but it seems to be following me everywhere I go. I need a damn vacation. Can you help?
Yup. Of course. I'll help Sam with anything that he needs help with. Not in a sex way. Just because I care about him.
I feel like maybe Sam should consider watching a different kind of crop. One that maybe is, a little less high stress situation. Maybe one that crows don't just naturally like.
Maybe like a different kind of bird or even squirrels are more into.
Yeah.
So then if he has to hear the crows at the Crow Bar, it's not like reminding him of his day and everything is just like, oh,
Yeah, it's like how I couldn't listen to Michael Jackson for years because it was played all the time in my workplace, and now I can listen to it again.
I still can't listen to Piano Man. I don't know if I'll ever be able to again.
Is that one because of me? Or?
No, they played like the bridge, that satellite radio station all the time at the booze store I worked at, and it just every day, at least 5 times, it would come on. I hated it. I wanted to die. Anyway, Sam.
So Sam.
You could do that, but also, where are you at? Because maybe we could get together and bring some bludgeoning tools or cages or something, and go over that crowbar and take care of business. TCB.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good old crow justice.
Oh, can I have a cool leather jacket?
Oh,
that's
yeah.
themed for the occasion? Hell
Yeah.
Plus we can collect their beaks.
Oh, we can make a
Get
montage.
those beaks.
Fuck
Glue
yeah.
glue those beaks to my fingernails and have tip tappers.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It'll be like Fritos.
Bugles.
Bugles. So,
So Sam, just write me again and we'll see what we can do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Write us all the time. Too much.
Yes.
all right. Well, thank you guys for listening.
Yeah.
And we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.